My dad said Bitcoin's only used by criminals. Is that true?
That's a great question, and actually it's the exact opposite. Chain analysis estimates that only about 0.15% of Bitcoin transactions are used for criminal activity, compared to about 3% for cash in traditional institutions like banks or payment processing companies.
But why don't criminals use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies? Their transactions can't get stopped.
That's another very good question, and we're going to focus on Bitcoin. See, Bitcoin is pseudo-anonymous. So while individuals aren't linked to specific transactions on the blockchain, every single blockchain transaction can be tracked and followed, and you'll be able to see every single transaction that went into or out of specific wallet addresses.
Isn't that an invasion of privacy though? Everyone can see everything.
No, I think that it's better this way. Again, it's pseudo-anonymous. So while you can see the individual wallet addresses and all the transactions coming into and out of those, they're not linked to individual people on the blockchain. So it's difficult to pinpoint an individual to those transactions, but not impossible, and they can be followed. No one's interested in doing the work and investing the resources for very small transactions on unknown wallets. However, very big transactions, especially around things like known crimes, a theft or a ransom, those are going to be able to be followed and tracked. And then if the criminal makes even one slip up, it's much more likely that they'll actually get caught.
Oh, so for large-scale crimes, it's easy to see how the money moved, but it still takes a fair amount of effort from law enforcement. So no one's going to be identifying your typical grocery purchase.
Correct. Bitcoin being pseudo-anonymous means that it's possible to track and follow transactions when needed. But it is fairly time and resource intensive to actually do. Note that this also doesn't mean the transactions can actually be stopped from going through. It just makes it more likely the criminal would get caught.
Would this become even safer once Bitcoin's the primary form of currency?
I believe so. See, Bitcoin is open and transparent, whereas all the big banks and payment companies, everything internal, nobody can see or really knows what's going on. This makes them actually very good at money laundering. Big banks are fined billions of dollars every single year for money laundering related crimes. Imagine if you wanted to know which politicians were getting bribes. It would probably become normal practice for politicians to have to give out their Bitcoin wallet addresses to the public so that the public could actually follow things like that. And you would know, oh hey, politician X or Y, they just got $1 million transaction, wonder where that's coming from. It would actually be much easier to follow things like this, whereas now cash or gold or even a traditional institution, it's quite easy to launder money.
That's a neat feature. I like that better than being able to see absolutely everything or nothing. If no one can track or follow anything, Bitcoin would immediately get taken over by criminals. I also wouldn't like it being too easy for anyone to view my transaction history.
I agree with that, and it seems like you really picked up on this material. Just make sure you remember to do your homework and watch this video on if Bitcoin is safe.